Hey guys, welcome you all to another video, and today we are going to continue paper number 5, unit number 2, chapter number 4, functions of literature. And actually we have started the chapter from previous week, and in the beginning we have started with John Dryden, and after that Dr. Samuel Johnson, and then again we moved back to ancient critic and poet, that is the Longinus, and we have seen his Sublime. So Sir Philip Sidney, as I have told you, that it was the first English critic before John Dryden, and he has written one book, Defense of Poesy, and in that book actually he expressed the similar opinions as Longinus has expressed in his book. So as we know that Longinus has said that the chief function of literature is to move, okay, and to give pleasure. So Sir Philip Sidney definitely agreed with that, and he wrote like that. You can read on the screen. I never heard the old song of Percy and Douglas. He has declared that the Percy and Douglas, these are the poets, and he said that he has never heard their songs. Why? Because he declared that I found not my heart moved more than with the trumpet. So because when in the beginning when he has listened some songs of Percy and Douglas, he found that his heart is not moving and he is not getting pleasure as he wanted to get it, and therefore he said that to give pleasure, that is the important function of literature, and if the poet is unable to deliver that function in here through his literary text of art, then uh, that poetry is not a poetry, because it is not giving or not functioning the real function of it. So as you know that John Dryden, we have seen his definition from his book Dramatic Poesy, and therefore he has given definition of drama, and that definition is also applied to entire literature. And therefore, because of that book, Dramatic Poesy, John Dryden is regarded as the father of literary criticism, English literary criticism. So, the Dryden was the next critic after Sir Philip Sidney, who cleared away the ancient stumbling block of criticism. Okay, because they were criticizing in different way, because they are not thinking that the pleasure, giving pleasure, is important function of literature. So the doctrine that the aim of writer is to instruct. Okay, so what was the ancient uh, stumbling of criticism? What the ancient criticism was? The ancient criticism has a doctrine that what is the aim of the writer? The aim of the writer, according to this old criticism doctrine, is to instruct or to make men better in some respect. It means that according to these, that literature has a function to represent men better than they really are. So as we have seen that Aristotle, he himself talk about the tragic hero, and he himself talk about that how tragedy is better than comedy, because tragedy represents men better than they are, and according to him comedy is worse, because comedy represent men worse than they really are. So therefore what is the important function of literature is to instruct, to give instruct, okay, and to represent men better than they really are. So that was the actually the doctrine of the old ancient criticism, or we can say their philosophy. But John Dryden, he changed that, and he totally agreed with Sir Philip Sidney that what is the function of literature. So he asserted that the chief aim of literature is not to teach. He should not be a teacher, but he should please. Okay, why you should read a poetry, or why you should watch a drama? You watch a drama or you watch a movie because you want certain kind of entertainment, and through the entertainment you want certain kind of pleasure. Okay, because we want to forget all our worries, we want to forget our life, and we wanted to go beyond our life and enjoy the story, a different world of literature. And therefore you listen song. If you ask me why I listen a song, because I just want to go in that kind of beautiful ideas which was expressed through songs, and I totally forget myself and just apply those things in my real life. So sometimes we just apply some words of that song. For example, I just give you one example of one song, and I think that that song is very near to my life. Okay, so actually the song is like that: मैं एक चोर तू मेरे रानी, चोरी चोरी ले चला मैं तुमसे तुमको ही चुरा के. These are the actually the starting of the song, but actually that is not applicable to me. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking romantically about that. I'm not relating with my life. I'm just talking about the first or the second stanza of this song. That is like that: किस्मत ने तो किस्मत ने तो हमको दर्द ही बांटे, किस्मत ने तो हमें दर्द ही बांटा, हमारे रास्ते में कांटे बिछाए. So like that. Okay, so that is applicable to me. Okay, so because I have struggled myself and I came here. Okay, because of the struggle, because I was very poor person before becoming a professor. Okay, so my life story is different, and it is something different because I was a poor man. Okay, I belong to poor family, but now it changed. My fortune has changed because I qualified in national eligibility test of lectureship, and I also got the award of junior research fellowship award from UGC. So that is the thing. Okay, again the another song, when I was struggling in my struggle day, I was listening that song, and that is the Chanda O Chanda Kisne Churai Teri Meri Naina जागी सारी रहना तेरे मेरे नैना. So that was the song, तेरी और मेरी कदर किसने न जानी, तेरी और मेरी एक कहानी, हम दोनों की कदर किसी ने न जानी. So these are the actually the song. Why I was listening those songs? Because it gives me pleasure. It's it moved me from my sad states to happy state. Okay, so that is the actual duty of poet according to John Dryden. He asserted that the aim of the writer is not to teach but to please, and therefore he made a distinction between, he distinguishes between literature, which is art, and literature which is didactic. So instruction may result from the reading of poetry, but it is not real end. So what is the real end? For poesy only instructs as it delights. So if it delighting, if it giving pleasure, then it should also giving instruction. Okay, John Dryden has agreed that what is the end of the poetry? To instruct and delight. And then we also analyze, I have also analyzed what is instruction. It is not a moral kind of instruction. Okay, okay, okay. John Dryden has already done that, and I have also explained it, and you can watch our previous lecture, the first part of this chapter 4. You can watch that video, and where I have made it clear. Okay, so further, referring to the function of literature to delight and to move, De Quincey was another critic, and he also made the distinction between the literature of knowledge and the literature of power. So the function of the literature of knowledge, what is the literature of knowledge? We can say that the social sciences, apart from the novel, drama, okay, poetry, there are books, there are literature about the knowledge. Social sciences like philosophy is there. Okay, okay, a lot of the social sciences also there, including economics, political science, etc., etc., sociology. Okay, and the natural sciences also there, that is the pure sciences, some people call them physics, maths, biology, zoology. Okay, like that. Okay, so these literature, what is their function? Is to teach us. Their function is to teach us. But what is the function of literature of power? Literature of power means the poem, drama, novel, essay. Okay, these are the literature of power, and the main function of it to move from sad state to happy state. Okay, so beside giving pleasure or entertaining or moving the readers, literature is supposed to have other functions as well, and there are two other functions also. One is the moral function, and the second one is the cognitive function. So in tomorrow's lecture we are going to discuss about that. So Hey guys, if you like this video, or if you have any kind of difficulties, so you just ask me questions. So thank you for watching.